media availability, I have a couple of things that I would like to cover in addition to the crime statistics, and then of course we'll have questions. First, on our crime statistics, I caution everybody that this is the first month of the year, obviously, and things become very unsettled as you do statistical analysis over a short time period. So we have a couple of anomalies here, things that will bear further watch and further concern, but may even out over time. Specifically, a large increase in homicides for January. This January, so far we've had 33 homicides, and that compares to only 22 last January. So obviously a large increase. That is not reflected in general crime statistics, however, though, particularly violent crime, which of course is the precursor to homicide. Violent crime in the city is actually down 15%. Again, these numbers are very soft. Short time period, relatively small number database, nothing to draw conclusions on yet. Rape is also down slightly, 7%. Robbery down significantly, 20%. Aggravated assaults, and aggravated assaults are the precursor to homicide, encouragingly are also down 11%. So I anticipate that the homicide numbers will reflect this as time passes, although we will watch this very, very closely. And I will bring out that there has been an increase in the Wilmington area that we are addressing through increased deployment and additional detectives. That's an increase in gang activity leading up to gang homicide. We look down slightly, personal theft down slightly, auto theft down about 9%. Again, way early in the year to draw conclusions, so I encourage people not to do that. Encouragingly, shootings are down. Shootings are down significantly, and gang crime is down significantly. So hopefully those trends will continue and will reverse the homicide trend, but again, this is something that we watch very, very closely. A couple of major cases that have been of interest to the media and the public. One is the Herbie Medellin murder, which occurred on January 17th. That is the 66-year-old Hollywood resident who was found decapitated and his hands and feet discovered in the hills above Hollywood. That case is assigned to Robbery Homicide Division. We have our absolute best detectives working on it. They are making progress. I'm not going to delineate that progress because I don't want to inhibit their investigation by releasing too many details. But I have utmost confidence that we will reach a resolution in that case. I just ask the public's patience. We do not, in this case, think that the general public is at risk because of the nature of this crime. Have compared these cases, have compared our freeways are used by criminals to discard their victims, and because of that, but we don't believe that they're connected by suspect. Lastly, I want to talk a little bit about my proposed changes in impound protocols. I know that this is a topic that is of great interest to many people. There's a lot of misinformation that is out about the wheres and the whys of this. I'd like to try to clarify that. Also, there is a written piece. The genesis for these protocol clarifications are that in a recent audit last year by our Inspector General, in order to make sure that we equally apply these impound sections, and there are two, which I will talk about in a minute. Licensed driver is immediately available. So we wanted to also make sure that our officers were complying with these core procedures, hence the clarification of, that I believe is necessary. This is the nuts and bolts of what will happen in the new procedures. If an unlicensed driver is stopped, that individual will be stopped. In the vast majority of cases, that individual's car will be impounded. But the difference will be whether or not the car is impounded just until a licensed driver comes forward with the registered owner to retrieve it, or if it's held for 30 days. Both sections are legal to use. We've conferred with the city attorney on this. Many jurisdictions throughout the state use them independently of each other. We believe we're on firm legal ground to use either section. We want to use the sections when they make the most sense. We want to make sure that we use progressive penalties for crimes that are differing in their seriousness. So when an unlicensed driver is stopped and that individual has insurance, that individual has identification, that individual has not been convicted of driving without a license in the past, and that individual did not cause a serious accident leading to the stop, then we will use the impound section, which impounds the vehicle until a licensed driver and a registered owner come and pick it up. Or when a person has a prior conviction, we will use the 30-day section. This does a couple of things. First, it ensures that we apply progressive penalties based on the seriousness of the offense. Second, it encourages people to do two things. It encourages them to have insurance. It encourages them to have identification. If we can make that dynamic change, then we will make the streets of Los Angeles safer. So that is the sum and substance of the procedural changes that will be going before the Police Commission for their consideration on the 14th of February. And with that,
30-day impound is the intent of was the legislative intent, and that officers should be required to impound for 30 days. Contrast that with your thoughts and feelings about adjusting the procedure. Who's right?
Discuss this with members of the media. You know, there has been a lot of discussion and a lot of thought. And if I had any inkling that what we were doing was illegal or a hazard to the public, I wouldn't do it.
Are they licensed? Because if you don't have a license, the records that might be associated with a previous stop might not be associated with that individual.
Require that the person have a reasonable ID.
What would that be?
Well, it could be a matricular card, it could be a consulate ID, it could be a birth certificate, it could be a number of things. Again, police officers have to deal with this every day. They make the determination. If they're not satisfied with identification, then they do what they do in normal circumstances. They have the option of making a physical arrest for driving without a license, and we do. So, you know, all of this is based on the investigative skills of our personnel, which is the essence of police work. We have to make these determinations all day long, and we make them right now. I think that people misunderstand how the law is currently applied. You know,
having an impact on public safety?
2,600 people in the county that have been released via the realignment plan, you know, and that is a cascading number, an ever-increasing number. We'll probably hit about 10,000 by the end of the year. We'll be in a much better position to tell at that point. We're able to manage it, but it certainly will make our business. Some people have made the mistake because we are evidently the only law enforcement agency in the county.
It's always that way. No, but we think that a constant struggle has been the interaction with the LA Unified School District. I know there was a previous superintendent that discouraged school officials from cooperating in these investigations, demanding officers produce warrants. Do you have any thoughts on that, and have you made any, I don't know,